They had no castles, no navy, no roads. The Mongols were nomads who lived in tents and ate mare's milk, yet they destroyed every professional army they faced. Chinese fortresses that had stood for 1,000 years, gone in weeks. Persian cities defended by elite warriors, reduced to ash. European knights in full armor, slaughtered like cattle. The Mongols changed warfare forever, and they did it with a military system so efficient, modern armies still study it today. The year is 1200. On the Mongolian steppes there are no cities, no written language, no grand temples or palaces, just endless grass and sky. Tribes of horsemen wander these plains, moving with the seasons, surviving on what they hunt and what their herds provide. They live in felt tents called jurs. They drink fermented mare's milk. They fight each other over grazing rights and old blood feuds. Meanwhile, their neighbors are building wonders. China has gunpowder, printing presses, cities with over 1 million people, sophisticated bureaucracies that have governed for centuries. The Chinese look at the Mongols the way Romans looked at barbarians: primitive, backwards, irrelevant. Persia has universities where scholars debate philosophy and mathematics, irrigation systems that turn deserts green, poets whose words will survive 1,000 years. The Persians don't even think about the steppes. Why would they? Nothing important has ever come from there. Europe has stone castles with walls that can't be breached, knights in armor so heavy it takes 3 men to lift them onto their horses. The feudal system has created a professional warrior class that trains from childhood in the art of war. The contrast is staggering. On one side, the pinnacle of human civilization. On the other, people who live like their ancestors did 5,000 years ago. Then something changes. A boy is born. His name is Temujin. He's nobody. His father is a minor chieftain of a minor tribe. When Temujin is 9 years old, his father is poisoned by rivals. The tribe holds a meeting. They make a decision. Temujin's family is abandoned, left behind, exiled to die. This happens all the time on the steppes. A leader falls, his family becomes a burden. Resources are scarce. Sentiment is a luxury no one can afford. Temujin's mother keeps her children alive through sheer will. They eat roots, field mice, marmots, fish caught with bare hands in frozen streams. Temujin watches his younger siblings starve. He learns what hunger feels like, what desperation does to people, what it takes to survive when the world wants you dead. This is where the empire begins, not in glory, not in prophecy, in a child eating rats to stay alive. 20 years pass. Temujin is no longer a starving boy. He's become something else. Through alliances, through marriages, through calculated violence, he's united the Mongol tribes. In 1206, they proclaim him Genghis Khan, universal ruler. The tribes that once left him to die now kneel before him. But he's still just a chieftain of nomads. The great powers of the world don't even know his name. That's about to change. Here's the mystery. Here's what historians still debate. What did the Mongols have that no one else did? Look at a Mongol warrior. He's not bigger than other soldiers, not stronger. His equipment is actually worse. He carries a composite bow, maybe 30 arrows, a curved sword, a lance. He wears a leather cuirass, sometimes with metal plates sewn in. That's it. Compare this to a Chinese soldier, behind fortress walls, protected by crossbows that can punch through armor at 200 yards, backed by catapults and Greek fire. Compare this to a Persian warrior, wielding a sword forged from Damascus steel, the finest metal in the world, trained in combat techniques perfected over centuries. Compare this to a European knight, 60 pounds of plate armor, a warhorse bred for size and strength, a lance designed to punch through shields and bodies, years of training in mounted combat. On paper, the Mongols should lose every single time. They don't. They win again and again and again. The advantage isn't equipment, it's not numbers. Mongol armies are almost always outnumbered. It's not luck. You don't conquer half the known world through luck. It's something else, something that takes years to build and seconds to deploy. The Mongols have reinvented war itself, and their enemies don't see it coming until it's too late. 1210, The Jin dynasty rules northern China. They've been in power for over a century. Their army numbers 600,000 professional soldiers. They have fortified cities with walls 40 feet high and 30 feet thick, stone and brick that have stood for generations, gates reinforced with iron, moats, kill zones, everything a defensive fortification needs. Genghis Khan has maybe 100,000 warriors, no siege equipment, no experience attacking cities. Nomads don't take cities, everyone knows this. It's an accepted fact of medieval warfare. Cavalry can raid, can skirmish, can win battles in open ground, but cities, fortresses, impossible. The Jin generals aren't worried. They've fought nomads before. You wait behind your walls. The nomads exhaust themselves. They run out of food. They leave. This is how it always works. The Mongols arrive at the first major city. The gates are barred. The walls are manned. The defenders jeer from the battlements. Come and get us, barbarians. 3 weeks later, the city is gone. Every building burned. Every defender dead. The walls are rubble. The Mongols capture Chinese engineers, force them to build catapults, trebuchets, siege towers. The engineers think they'll be killed when the siege ends. They're wrong. The Mongols keep them alive, need them for the next city and the next. The Mongols are learning, adapting, taking the technology of settled civilizations and turning it against them. They try something else, divert a river, flood a city's foundations, watch the walls crack and collapse as water undermines centuries of construction. They use prisoners, thousands of them, drive them toward the walls with Mongol cavalry behind. The defenders can either kill their own people or let human shields approach the gates. Either way, they lose. City after city falls. The pattern is always the same. The Mongols send an offer. Surrender now, your leaders will be spared, your people will be spared, refuse, and everyone dies, every man, every woman, every child. The first cities refuse, they trust their walls. The Mongols make examples, systematic slaughter. Survivors are sent to the next city to tell what happened, to describe what they saw. The next city faces the same choice. Some surrender, some fight. The ones who fight learn the same lesson. Within 3 years, the Jin dynasty is collapsing, not slowly, not through gradual decline, through sudden, violent, total defeat. An empire that seemed permanent is being erased from the map. If China can't stop them, who can? Now we need to understand how this is possible, how nomads are destroying civilizations. The Mongol military system is unlike anything the medieval world has seen. Let me break it down. Every Mongol boy learns to ride before he can walk properly. By age 3, he's on a horse. By age 5, he's galloping. By age 10, he can shoot a bow from horseback at full speed and hit a target the size of a man's chest. By 14, he's ready for war. This isn't training, this is life, every single day, for every single boy, no exceptions. The result, an entire nation of cavalry, not some cavalry, not elite cavalry supported by infantry, 100% cavalry, an army that moves as fast as its slowest horse, and Mongol horses are bred for endurance, not speed. They can survive on grass other horses won't touch. They can travel 60 miles in a single day. Roman legions managed 20, medieval European armies, maybe 10 on a good day. Speed becomes a weapon. The Mongols appear where they're impossible. Enemy scouts report Mongol forces 200 miles east. 3 days later, those same forces attack from the west. Armies can't gather, can't coordinate, can't respond. By the time orders are issued, the Mongols have already moved. Organization. The Mongols use a decimal system. Units of 10, 10 units of 10 make 100, 10 hundreds make 1,000, 10 thousands make a tumen. Every commander knows exactly who he reports to. Orders travel through the entire army in minutes using flags, horns, and messengers. Compare this to medieval European armies where nobles argue about who's in charge and orders get lost in translation. Intelligence networks. This is what separates the Mongols from every other steppe tribe in history. Spies everywhere, traders, merchants, travelers, refugees, all reporting back. The Mongols know the layout of cities they've never seen. They know which generals are competent and which are cowards. They know about internal politics, about food supplies, about troop movements. When the Mongols attack, they fight with perfect information. Their enemies fight blind. Psychological warfare raised to an art form. The Mongols don't just defeat armies, they break civilizations. The offer is always the same. Surrender immediately and you'll be spared. Resist and everyone dies, not just the soldiers, everyone. The Mongols follow through every time. Word spreads. Messengers are sent to the next city. Former residents describe what they witnessed. The smell of burning bodies, the screams that lasted for days. The Mongol policy is calculated. Surrender becomes the rational choice. Why fight when fighting means death and surrender means life? And then there's the tactics, the feigned retreat. This is the Mongol signature move. It works like this. Mongol cavalry attacks. The enemy holds. The Mongols seem to panic. They turn, they flee. The enemy sees victory. They charge, break formation, chase the fleeing Mongols. For miles, the Mongols lead them on, exhausting them, stretching their lines. Then the Mongols wheel around. Fresh reserves appear from both flanks. The enemy is surrounded, trapped, annihilated. This tactic is thousands of years old. Steppe tribes have used it forever. But the Mongols perfect it. They use it against the Chinese, who have fought steppe nomads for centuries. The Chinese fall for it. They use it against the Persians, whose military manuals specifically warn against pursuing fleeing cavalry. The Persians fall for it. They use it against European knights, the finest heavy cavalry in the world. The Europeans fall for it. Every single time. This isn't just an army, it's a machine, every part synchronized, every warrior trained to perfection, every tactic tested in blood. The Mongols take the best ideas from everyone they conquer and integrate them into their system. Chinese siege weapons, Persian metallurgy, captured engineers, kidnapped administrators, everything becomes a tool. By 1227, Genghis Khan is dead, probably from internal injuries after falling from his horse. He's buried in secret, no one knows where. His sons and grandsons continue what he started. By 1240, the empire stretches from the Pacific Ocean to Eastern Europe. It's the largest contiguous land empire in human history. Before or since, nothing matches it. Not Rome, not Alexander, not the British Empire. Let's understand what this means. 1258, Baghdad falls. For 500 years, this city has been the heart of the Islamic world. The House of Wisdom contains texts from across the known world, mathematics, medicine, philosophy, astronomy, translations of Greek and Roman works lost everywhere else. The Mongols destroy it all. The canals run black with ink. The Tigris River runs red with blood. Between 200,000 and 1 million people die in a single week. The Islamic Golden Age ends. Not through decline, through systematic slaughter. 1240, Kiev falls, Moscow falls, the Russian principalities burn, Poland falls. A combined Polish and German army faces the Mongols at Legnica. They outnumber the Mongols 2-1. The battle lasts less than a day. The Europeans are destroyed, completely. 9 bags of ears are collected from the dead. That's how the Mongols count enemy casualties. Hungary falls, Europe prepares for invasion. Kings send frantic letters to the Pope. They beg for help, for a crusade against the Mongols instead of against Muslims in the Holy Land. Monks write that the apocalypse has come, that these are the armies of Gog and Magog from the Book of Revelation. Then the Mongols stop, turn around, ride back east. Why? The great Khan has died in Mongolia. Mongol law requires all commanders to return for the election of a new Khan. The invasion of Europe is cancelled. Europe survives by accident, by tradition, by luck. But the Mongol Empire doesn't end, it transforms. The Mongols create the Silk Road, not the old fragmented routes controlled by dozens of kingdoms. One road, from China to Italy, under one law, protected by Mongol force. For the first time in human history, merchants can travel from Beijing to Venice and face the same legal system the entire way. Ideas flow, technologies spread, paper money, printing, gunpowder. These Chinese innovations reach Europe because the Mongols connected the world. The Renaissance becomes possible, not in spite of the Mongols, because of them. The empire eventually fragments. In Persia, the Mongols convert to Islam, become patrons of art and architecture. In China, Kublai Khan establishes the Yuan dynasty, builds Beijing, receives Marco Polo. In Russia, the Golden Horde rules for 200 years, shaping Russian culture and politics in ways that echo even now. But the unity breaks, civil wars, succession disputes. By 1300, the empire is splintering. By 1400, it's gone. The descendants of Genghis Khan rule scattered kingdoms. The system that conquered half the world collapses under its own weight. But here's what remains. Military academies still teach Mongol tactics, speed, intelligence, mobility, coordination, psychological warfare. The principles that made nomads unbeatable are now standard doctrine. The blitzkrieg, shock and awe, these are just modern names for what the Mongols perfected 800 years ago. The Mongols had no cities, no technology, no wealth. They had something else, a system, a culture of warfare honed over generations on the steppes where weakness meant death, the willingness to adapt, to learn, to take the best from every enemy and make it their own, to do whatever it took to win. Advanced civilization couldn't save China, couldn't save Persia, couldn't save Eastern Europe. Technology alone isn't enough. Stone walls aren't enough. Professional armies aren't enough. Organization beats equipment. Speed beats armor. Information beats numbers. Adaptability beats tradition. Here's the question that should keep you awake at night. Could it happen again? Could a small force, perfectly organized, moving faster than enemies can respond, armed with perfect intelligence, defeat a modern superpower? History suggests the answer is yes. The Mongols proved that the fundamentals of warfare don't change, only the tools. They emerged from nothing, built an empire that changed the world, then vanished back into the steppes, leaving behind genetic legacies, cultural transformations, and a roadmap for how to conquer everything. We live in the world the Mongols created. Every time goods move from Asia to Europe, they follow routes the Mongols secured. Every time a military force uses speed and intelligence over brute force, they're applying Mongol principles. The age of the Mongol Empire ended centuries ago. The age of Mongol warfare never did.